Okay, great. So yeah, folks, thanks for joining any existing local line customers. Thank you for being a customer. Anybody who's not a local line customer yet, what the hell is wrong with you? Become a customer already. We want to work with you. Um, this is gonna be, this is not a long workshop today. I've got maybe 10 minutes of slides. I want to talk about what this feature is and what we want to do with it in the future. And if anybody has feedback on future plans for this feature, like please share as much as you're possibly willing to. Our team values it greatly, and we take it into deep consideration when we build new things. And after that, after I get through some slides, then I'm going to do a 5-minute demo of the feature. For those of you that are local line customers, you've probably seen it in your account and had a chance to play with it. But anyway, I'm just going to give it a quick once over and highlight some of the things that I think are interesting about it. So anyway, with that, we can jump into our slides. What is Discover? The broad goal with Discover is increase market access for farmers. We say farmers, we mean food hubs and suppliers and producers and all of the other kinds of, call it sellers that we support. But it's increasing market access. And the obvious thing when you say increase market access, the obvious place that one's mind goes to is, oh, good, you're going to like bring me buyers. Okay, yeah, we're going to do that at some point. That's phase two, which leads me to the next slide. The other way to increase market access is by helping you guys connect with each other. So that's phase one that you see on the slide, supplier to supplier. And the reason that we know this is because over the last couple of years, we have watched farmers on Local pair up together where they use our hub functionality. So like a food hub, but they're not. It's just 2 or 3 different farms. They share each other's products, right? And so if I sell cheese and Nina sells wine, within a couple clicks inside of Local today, we can share each other's products. And now my cheese gets exposed to her customers, so I get more bang for my marketing dollar, through her audience, and vice versa. It's a great way to expand order sizes. It's a great way to tap into new sales channels. It's a good way to grow the business, right? And build your brand. So that's where we're starting. Then I'm going to talk a little bit later about actually getting introduced to buyers on the backside. And Nina, you're going to stop me if I'm supposed to stop, right? Or we do Q&A at the end?
Yeah, I'll stop you.
Okay. So with phase one, connecting supplier to supplier, the goal here, or I shouldn't say the goal, the features, the functions that actually are available to you, find new products, like I said, so find people in your area, collaborate with them, so click, add them either as a vendor to your account or request to be added as a vendor to their account so that you can resell each other's products. And then at the point that I was making previously, expanding into new sales channels. So there's a bunch of food hubs that run on Local. And so you can connect with hubs as a way to expand your sales channels, or you can connect with an individual, farmer or grower that might be doing something complementary to you. This is a screenshot of what it looks like. I won't spend a lot of time on this slide, but as you can see, if you can see, I think you can see my cursor on the screen, but the left-hand tab here, the foremost left-hand tab, these are all the features that you get that comes like included in a Local account. And you'll notice we're in that connections tab. There's a drop down now, and then we're inside of, from there, Discover. This gives you a list of all of the different suppliers and food hubs that are on Local. And it shows you on the right-hand side a map that you can use kind of like a realtor.com or a realtor.ca for any of our Canadian folks, where like you can sort of, the more you zoom in, the more the pins appear, and you can grab the cursor and move around. And I'll show you what it's like when we get to the demo. Good. Now to actually set this up, practically speaking, 2 steps. Okay. Step 1, fill out your profile. You can be a buyer or you can be a seller or both. So just to go back to that last screenshot, it might be a little small on the screen here, but for people that can see on the bottom below where it says Hubs Profile, that's where you fill out what this screenshot is here. So on the left-hand side of this screen, this is what a completed profile will look like. Okay, so we have Chatty's Farm, we have a description about them, and we have an overview of what they're buying and what they're selling. If you have any growing practices, your organic or your kosher or your grass-fed or whatever it is, you can upload and tag those here. Same thing with ownership types and then your contact information. In this case, it's blank, but normally it's not. And then the way you actually fill that in is in that profile tab. So this is where you select, as Nina's highlighted in the slide, I want to buy and resell products, or I just want to sell my products, and you can complete your profile. So this is available, this is included in every local line plan already. It doesn't matter what plan that you're on. And we've had a bunch of farms already fill this out, not everybody. But if you haven't yet, strongly encourage you. If you want to be discovered, if you want opportunities to come to you, which is always the best kind, or at least if we want to maximize the likelihood that opportunities come to you, filling out the profile is a super easy way to do that, and makes you much more discoverable inside of the actual Discover system. Okay, the second piece to this is the wholesale buyer profile. So you can create a profile right now for as if you like so that you want to get displayed to wholesale buyers. Sorry. And so there's no way right now that what's coming down the line is the ability for you guys to browse all of the buyers on local line and apply to work with them, connect with them, talk to them. And the way that they can browse, just like they have their own version of the map for local line on the farms that are in their area, is they use this kind of a profile. So they want to be able to see about your farm. If you have a wholesale price list, this is one of the nice features about the wholesale buyer section, is that you can specify what price list you want listed, which might be a wholesale price list instead of a retail price list for obvious reasons. We want to give them some, proper packaging. Maybe we want to display pricing. But if you don't want to display pricing yet, if you just want to sort of say, these are the products that I have for sale that are wholesale, you can do that. And then you can select this bottom checkbox, which is to hide the pricing. And so you can still list products, make yourself available, you're discoverable, but you don't have to commit to any wholesale pricing until you actually have a conversation with this person and, build a relationship. And then this is a section that I was talking about where you can upload your documents. Normally, like for example, like in the certification docs here, what we would recommend is if you're GAP certified, upload the certification. You don't have to upload the audit report. That might not be something that needs to be uploaded or that you want uploaded for everybody to see, but uploading the GAP certification is a good idea if you're going to be targeting buyers that require GAP certification. Okay, cool. Let's talk about what's next. So right now, you can search by supplier, and you can see that because this is all supplier names in the screenshot here. What's coming next is the ability to search by product. So as Nina's highlighted in the page here, we can, like in this case, we're searching for tomato. And so it's not showing us tomatoes yet, but it will in the future. So let's say like Nina is a great vineyard, and in addition to cheese, she's also looking for, I don't know what, like, I don't know, homemade crackers or something. She'll actually be able to come to the Discover tab, type for that specific product, and she'll be able to get a list of suppliers back that sell that product in, her area that she is actually searching. So that's one way we're going to make it a little bit more useful. And then I mentioned this, you'll be able to connect with buyers. The way that connecting with buyers will work is a little bit different than the way it's going to work to connect with a supplier. In the supplier, the workflows in Localine are already built such that you can easily, within a couple clicks, either request to have someone's product shared with you, or you can share your products with somebody else so that they can resell them to their customers, right? With buyers, it'll look and feel almost like an application. So when we sit down with a buyer, we know, like we'll use Chipotle as an example. I think everybody knows we work really closely with them. There's a very specific kind of produce farm that they're looking to partner with. And so when you get in the future and you can see all of the buyers in your area, maybe one of which is a Chipotle location, we're going to speed up the process where you don't have to try to talk to them along with many other farms, and maybe you hear back and maybe you don't, and it's a little bit unclear. You'll be able to just look, this is the criteria. They're looking for these kinds of farms. And if you fit that criteria, you can submit what is effectively it's not a full application. I don't want to make it sound like it's a full form that needs to be, submitted, but you can effectively put yourself forward as somebody that meets those criteria. So we're trying to make it like as efficient of a matchmaking as possible so that when you get into the buyer listings in Discover, you can filter and say, look, here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I'm built to serve. Show me buyers that, look like that are a fit for me. And then the next thing that we will be doing is what we've called community insights, or maybe just insights. The actual word might change, but there's so many things we can build on top of Discover just by the sheer virtue of actually kind of pulling back the curtain and letting you all see who else is on Localine and giving you all a chance to connect with each other. The most obvious one as an example is fulfillment. Is there a situation where it actually makes sense for us to be allowing you guys to share fulfillment together? Let's say we have two farms that are close together. We'll pick Nina and I's geography for like simple, explanations. Let's say we have two farms and one drives west to Toronto to deliver and the other one drives east to Ottawa. There's no reason now that they actually can't be exposed to one another and at least have the conversation, at least figure out if there's a way that they can actually now, instead of just sharing products in a price list, share a fulfillment route and actually get exposure to customers in other cities. Same thing with like just being able to say, you can see it on the screenshot. For example, the average order value. We talk a lot about this as a way for farmers to help increase their business and grow their average. The average farmer increases their order value by 9.5% a year on Localine, grows their sales by 23%, and of that 9.5% is an increase in the average order. So we talk a lot about this. And you can all see this in your own account. So if you log into Localine today, you can see here's what my average order is. But wouldn't it be nice to see if that is like up or down or left or right from everybody else in your area, or at least others that look like you? If you're a produce CSA, being able to figure out, am I good or am I bad, or what is the kind of zone here? So we're not going to be comparing farmer to farmer, so like specifics. It's not about specific comparisons, but Localine is in a unique position now, being able to work with thousands of farms around the world to take this data, average it, and make it actually useful to you. Anonymize it. Again, you're not going to see anybody else's stuff, obviously, but you can actually take stats benchmarking and figure out what decisions you should or should not be making according to those benchmarks. Okay? A little rambly, but that's what it is. Great. Okay. And I think this is our last slide. As a result, so because of the Discover launch, we're increasing our customer referral program. Historically, it was if you're a Localine customer and you refer someone to become a Localine customer, you get $200 in account credit and they get $200 off their subscription. So it was give 200, get 200. Now it's 300. So give 300 and then get 300. We're running that, until June 30th. Just in an effort to sort of say that like this feature might be a catalyzing event for people that are on the fence to say, yes, Localine might be a fit for me because I can discover other people, or maybe someone who's on it that you already want to work with. So that is now available for those that were not aware. Great, we're at the live demo part. So I'll switch over and pull that up. Nina, I don't think we've asked for questions yet, but if there are any questions, I'm happy to do it kind of on the fly while I get the demo up.
No questions from the audience yet, but if anyone has questions, be sure to pop those in. We'll wait till you kind of get the demo up here, Cole.
Cool. Well, it's up, so super fast. Okay.
I guess kind of first question, just to kick us off here, maybe you could show it in the demo too. What happens after a connection's made? What does that process look like?
Yeah, so I'll get there.
Sure.
For those of you that are Localine customers, this is a dashboard. You guys all probably look at it, 5 times a day, just like we do. We actually do have some improvements coming here. So if in your head you're thinking, oh man, this needs a refresh, it is being, refreshed. But when you log in, point is, like the screenshot, we're going to go left-hand side halfway down where it says connections. We're going to click connections and it's going to default us here to Discover. And so this at the bottom, I'll just sort of dance through it here. This is the profile. So this is what Nina was showing previously. So this is how you can fill out your Discover profile to be discovered by other suppliers. And then at the bottom, this is where you fill in that buyer profile if you'd like to be discovered by other buyers that are on the system. For any hubs and vendors is if you're already connected to a hub. If you sell to a food hub on Localine, they show up here and you can manage that connection and the products that you're sharing with them here. and then vice versa vendors. So if you actually buy from other farms, this is just my demo account that we're in here. So in this case, I'm buying from 3 farms, then they show up right there. Anyway, so back to Discover here. So what it does is it takes you on the map. I think this account, I think, is based in Texas. So yeah, let's go down here. Cool. There we go. And as you can see, the pins are auto adjusting as I move. That's what I was mentioning before. The red dot will, like the red pin is yourself. So that's your sort of home base. And the map should default to that location when you load it up. And it's going to show you all of the farms that are around you. I think that if I recall, I think that the default view on the map is 300 miles or 200 miles or something like that. But you can zoom out and the pins are going to adjust. You can zoom in, more specifically to get back here to home base in Houston. And then the pins are going to adjust again. As the pins adjust, it gives you the actual list of the farms that are in that area. So in the top search bar here, you can see this is showing us 84 accounts that are listed here. Okay. And so we can sort of go through, we can see who these people are, and we can then run filters. So inside of this list, if we wanted to say, well, just show me the hubs, then it's going to show me here are the people that are hubs. So those would be people that I could actually buy products from. And so, for example, it won't be beat. I can click on won't be beat, read about them. I can see what products that they're looking for, what products that they're selling. And if I scroll to the bottom, Nina, this is to answer your question. I have 2 options. I can click this button here, become a supplier. That pulls up a modal that I press send on, and it sends them a request to add me as a vendor. If they accept the request on their side, I get added as a vendor and I can share my products with them, which they can then take and put in their own price list for sale for their customers. So what'll end up happening is if you sell your product at $10, that's what you sell it at to them, and that's what you market as, right? So that's what you're going to get paid. They then, of course, as in at least with most models, are taking some kind of a markup. And so they're going to see the base cost of the product at 10. They may mark up to 12, and then they're going to sell to their customers. Okay. The payment can flow through Localine for those that are part of a hub or familiar with that. The payments can flow directly from the customer back to the vendor on Localine, but they don't have to. There are some hubs that are doing offline payments, doing checks, doing different kinds of, transfers. And that's up to how you want to work with this particular, person. You're going to find their contact information at the bottom here. And so some of it's not complete, most of it is. But you'll be able to see here the person's name, their email address, their phone number, and then their actual website. In this case, this is my demo account. And so by all means, like you can contact the other farms. Like if they're listed here, if they're listed as a buyer or pardon me, as a hub or a supplier, presumably they are open to having these kinds of conversations, and we're all looking to increase our business together. And rising tide lifts boats, many hands are better than one, all of the different sort of, sayings here. So you can actually contact them, get to know them, talk about whether it's a fit. And then whenever you're ready, it's only a couple of clicks. On the flip side, if I wanted to, let's say, sell the Pennies Market products, I can click request products, and then it'll actually show me, or it'll, give them an invite to say, yeah, do you want to list your products with them? And I guess one important piece that I sort of skipped over is the actual view products button. Of course, a natural question is, well, what does Pennies actually grow or sell or, have for sale? And you can know that if you click on view products. What that does is that opens up the price list that they have set as the default in their sourcing account. And so in this case, again, it's a demo account. So sort of, look at it accordingly. But I can actually go and I can browse and see the products that they have for sale. Maybe I'm really interested in the Gala apples or in the raspberries or something to that effect. And when I go back to Localine, that's when I can then do one of the 2 actions, which is become a supplier or request their products. Cool. So yeah, again, similar here. We can zoom out, we can move, we can zoom in. I'm not sure why necessarily. Maybe somebody on the East Coast needs to connect exactly with somebody over here on the West Coast, but you can. And even if it's for, conversation, I mean, Local Line we have farms in 13 different countries. So there's some in Europe over here. There's some in Australia, and a couple of them in New Zealand. So not that we all have extra time to be spending talking to our farm friends around the world, but Local Line is a community of customers. We think about you guys very much as a collective of customers. You are our bosses in many ways. It's our job to build the best platform for you, and it feels as though the more we can allow you guys to connect with each other, then the better we're all going to be for it. Good. A couple more really fast things. Sorry, Nina, and then I'll
Oh
wrap
no,
up
go for
and get to
it.
questions. If you guys want to filter by certification, so you can do that too. Okay. And the feature is early, like it's rolled out where we do have a handful of farms that have filled this out completely and like built their profiles. It'll just become more feature rich over time. This wasn't data that we had like on all of our farms in the first place, so we couldn't really like fill it in. All the stuff that's listed here is all public, like from your public storefronts anyway. There's nothing that's being shared that's not. But you can actually, once you fill in your profile, you'll be able to actually search if you just wanted to say, for example, hey, show me folks that are GAP certified. You can also search distance away from. So if we kind of somewhat zoom a little bit back in, you can search distance from your location. So I can search 50 miles or I can search, 100 miles as an example and click apply. In this case, it'll tell me nobody, but again, that's just because it's a demo account. You can filter by the specific state or the province, in this case by the country, but I'm not sure that's all that relevant. And then the last one that I'll call out is you can filter by growing practices. So if you're doing some certain work and want to work with, for example, other certified naturally grown growers, we have a lot of certified naturally grown members that are also Local Line customers. You can filter for that here as well. Cool. There's a refer a farm button at the top. If you know somebody that is on the fence or that you think is a good fit, you just fill in a form and that comes to our team. And then, like I said earlier, if they end up becoming a customer, you get $300, they get $300. And yeah, I think that's what I've got, Nina.
Awesome. Yeah, if anyone has more questions about this feature or about Local Line in general, be sure to pop those in the chat, or you can raise your hand if you wanted to speak. Question here from Karen. The products you view from that button, so when you press view products, are those only they intend to offer wholesale, or is that all of their publicly available products?
So in this case, what it's going to link to is if I go back to my profile and I look on my Discover profile here, it's going to link to my default public price list. And so that's not always the wholesale one. The wholesale one you can specify specifically in the wholesale buyer section. So in this case, my retail price list is my default public one. So that's the one that I clicked on when you viewed it in the store. But if it was a buyer that was looking like a Chipotle or something like that, if we wanted to become visible for them, we might specify that we want the wholesale price list to show and then click apply. And then, okay, yes, it was already set that way, so that's fine. That's what's going to show up for them.
Got it. Awesome. If you have any follow-up questions, let us know. Perfect. Speaking of the buyer's side, what kind of buyers are using Discover or will be using Discover? I don't know, maybe.
So it really does run the gambit here. It's a little bit, it's not totally atypical to the farmer side of the Local Line business where there's every kind of farm, all shapes and they grow all kinds and then sizes. So some very small, some quite large. Similar thing with the buyers. So there's a lot of independent grocery locations, right? So an independent grocery store owner, they might have one, two, three, four, five locations in Massachusetts or something like that, right? That use Local Line because they want to simplify the way they run their local program and they want access to new local products as they become available. And then it goes all the way up to a Chipotle, a Tops, some very large food service distributors, but call it more like, if maybe not nation, yeah, in some cases nationwide chains, but maybe regional, where there's grocery chains that we work with that span 10, 15, 20 states. And they want to look at Local Line as, again, a way to simplify and expand their local program, where in their case, local tends to be 10% of the volume and 90% of the headaches. And where we're able to help is solve a lot of the headaches around the current program today, and then be that first place that they go, where they don't have to be doing calls and Google searches and, whatever they were doing before. It's a mixed bag. It actually becomes like a dedicated place for them to go and search. So a bit of a long-winded answer, but honestly, all kinds, which is what makes us excited about the matchmaking possibility. It's not like every buyer is a Chipotle level buyer that you need to be some highly professional farm to serve. There's lots of different buyers and therefore different appetites for the kind of supplier that they want to work with.
For sure. If you're a current Local Line customer, what are next steps to start using this feature?
Like I said earlier, it's available for everybody. So you can get in there right now. You can go to profile, complete your profile. It takes maybe 5 minutes. And then you're going to get listed here. You can get in and you can start to filter yourself for who's a supplier, who's a hub, click their store, learn about their products, contact them. It's available now. It's intentionally very open. We want to leave uh, open the possibility that, like, we don't know everything about how this feature should develop and the next things we want to build on top of it. So the more ability to have organic interactions for our customers, and the more that we get feedback, the more we just give it a minute to breathe and just let it kind of, be there and see its usefulness, hear from customers. That goes a long way for us in informing what we build next. But it's available now.
For sure. And then if you're not currently a Local Line customer, what are next steps? Get started.
Um, Yeah, I mean, go to our website. You can sign up for an account without a credit card. You can book a demo with any of our team. Our website also has like 100 pages on it that Nina and her team have to maintain, of all the features, all the way it works. We have video, like demo videos. There's these kinds of workshops and webinars. There's tons of content. In some cases, it's probably too much. It's like, going to like a restaurant where the menu's this thick and you can never decide, what you actually want. But our phone number's plastered on the website. You can just go to localline.co and sign up for an account, schedule a demo, call us, whatever feels like the most appropriate next step for you. And ultimately, it all culminates in creating an account and starting to fill it out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to everyone for coming. If you have any further questions about Discover, about Local Line in general, you can contact us via email, Instagram, give us a call, however we can help. As I mentioned, this is recorded. I will send out the recording tomorrow morning, most likely, as well as any kind of follow-up resources. If you're interested in these workshops, we try to run one about monthly, so be sure to join our newsletter for all the updates on that, as well as check out the workshops page on our website. Cole, any kind of final words before we wrap up here?
Super appreciative of everybody's time. I know we're coming into a busy time of year, but if you use this feature in some way, please make sure to pass it on to your Local Line support rep and just express how it was or was not helpful. Because as I've said for the 10th time now, the feedback, it goes a long way. So anyway, thanks everybody for attending.
Sure. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank
Until
you.
next time. Bye.